I'm gon' ride, we gon' ride, who gon' slide, we gon' slide, they my guys, they my slimes.
Clip up the ride out.
I'm gon' ride, we gon' ride, who gon' slide, we gon' slide, they my guys, they my slimes.
All out when we ride out.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros are comments made by David Haye. David Haye predicts that Anthony Joshua will KO Usyk with a jab. All right, let's take a look.
I'm sorry.
David Haye is predicting that Anthony Joshua will KO Usyk with a jab. So this is an article from Sky Sports, and it's quoting David Haye. And he says Anthony Joshua will unleash devastating power on Alexander Usyk, who could be knocked out by a jab, says David Haye. I'll tell you exactly what punch is going to be. It's going to be a jab, right hand, and then a straight jab again. The jab will knock out Usyk. David Haye has predicted how Anthony Joshua will overpower Usyk live on Sky Sports box office on September 25th. That's what the article starts off by stating. I'm going to go directly to the quotes. All right, and here it is. David Haye says, I think his style might be very effective if AJ was 6'2" and 14 stone, Haye told Sky Sports. But AJ isn't. AJ is 6'6", and he's an absolute specimen, and he's one of the best athletes ever in the heavyweight division. That just spells knockout defeat for Usyk. David Haye went on to say, if Usyk was the future of the heavyweight division and he's going to be good enough to beat AJ, he should have at least stopped Derek Chisora or won by a landslide. He went on to say, but he didn't. He wasn't able to keep the heavier man off him. He didn't have the firepower. I just don't see AJ having any problems. I'll tell you exactly what punch it's going to be. A jab, a right hand, then a straight jab again. The jab will knock out Usyk. He will knock Usyk out with a jab. That's what David Haye had to say. So we have someone on this panel who always keeps it real when it comes to Usyk. He always tells the truth when it comes to Usyk, and he doesn't care what no one has to say about Usyk. Trill Dollar Bill, what you got to say, brother?
David Haye is bugging. David Haye is big when it comes to Usyk. I get it, man. I get it. It's the heavyweight division, and what y'all really is based on size. But as history has showed you in boxing, especially in the heavyweight division, it's skills that pay the bills with the greats. It's not just about size. It's with skills. And Usyk has great athletic abilities. He has great skill in there. He's a very intelligent boxer, and we've seen him outscale guys. Y'all made me go back and watch the Chisora fight again. And I was watching this fight again, and I seen how Chisora was coming forward with that aggressive style, but I also see Usyk sitting in the pocket and picking him off. Straight shots right down the middle, and then getting out of there. I said this before. I said I only seen, this is when we was first talking, before these guys was even entertaining fighting each other. I said I only seen two guys that could beat a Usyk and give him trouble, and that was Tyson Fury and AJ. And I said that these guys will give him trouble, but I think there will be an exciting but tough fight. I don't see it. I see AJ winning, but I see AJ having to use his boxing ability. AJ, the gold Olympian who learned that it's not about just going in there and using your muscles and swinging wildly and trying to hit somebody. AJ is a different fighter now that knows that realized that he has to use his gifts. And that's his boxing ability. And that's what he has been using since the Ruiz fight. And he's been a different fighter. And that's what made me so high on this kid. And with Usyk, I really believe that this is not just going to be I believe that this is going to be a chess match. I believe AJ will win the chess match, but I do believe that this is going to be a tough fight. And if AJ does win, he deserves full credit for fighting a guy who is technically sound like this and who is an Olympian and who has accomplished a lot. Maybe he just accomplished this in the cruiserweight division, but he has done good in the heavyweight division and is a tough fight just because of his boxing knowledge, his IQ, and his athleticism. So I believe that people should stop downplaying this fight, man, because Usyk is a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to the other cruiserweights who have came up from cruiserweight to become champion. So I believe that stop. Give him his props. He's a fighter. He's a warrior, and he's not making no excuses. He's not making no excuses. He's daring to be great, and he's really trying to go in there with AJ, and he's not trying to weasel out no fight. So you got to give him some respect for that. You got to put some respect on Usyk's name because you're taking away from AJ. If AJ wins, he deserves full credit for this fight. It shouldn't be, oh, he just fought some cruiserweight. No. Because he's not fighting a cruiserweight. He's fighting a guy who's coming in there with the height and size now, who's been in there and been acclimated at this weight now. Okay? Now, if he goes in there and he just put some respect on Usyk's name, he's an incredible fighter and he's a warrior. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's going to be a good fight, and I think that AJ will pull it off. But I don't like the disrespect for Usyk because he deserves it. He deserves the respect because he's proved it day in and day out. Until one of these guys beat him, I don't care with some, I think that this guy can beat him. I think that this guy can beat him. The heavyweights that they put him in the ring with, they didn't beat him. The heavyweights that he went in the ring with, they didn't beat him.
All right, Conspiracy.
I agree 100% with David Haye on this. And here's why. This is no disrespect. I'm trying to be as objective as possible because I actually do respect what Phil was just saying. Initially, when I read David Haye predicts AJ will KO Usyk with a jab, I laughed. I was like, that's so disrespectful, right? That's no jab. But after Kaden read it, he said it'll be a jab followed by the straight right and then end with the jab. Mm. That makes more sense, right? So I feel like so I feel like AJ against Usyk, the straight punches will take out Usyk, right? So it makes sense to have, the jab followed by the straight right. That's gonna do some damage against Usyk. And David Haye made another good point. And in this point, you have to at least give David Haye some consideration because David Haye's talking about his own fighter. He was like, yo, Chisora is a gatekeeper. And you couldn't take out a gatekeeper. But we're supposed to expect that you could take out Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? The creme de la creme. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? And so it's not like David Haye was capping. What he was saying is like, yo, like AJ is just a bigger guy, a stronger guy. And I can see him doing the 1-2, and then the straight right might just really like hurt him, and then another jab for good measure to drop my man Usyk. That, honestly, that's reasonable to me, man. It's like it don't seem.
David Haye was watching that Victor or the Ortiz fight. I mean, with what's the other kid on the zone when he hit him with the jab?
Oh, Virgil
Ortiz fight. That's what he was like.
Hey man,
AJ gonna do that.
Listen, all I'm saying is David Haye. Because what David Haye is saying is an insult to Chisora when you kind of think about it, but he still said it because that's what he truly believes. So I agree with him 100, man. I'm sorry, man. Yes, he's talented. Yes, he was the man at cruiserweight. In the heavyweight division, I'm not impressed. What he did against Chisora, I'm like, man, listen, you fool for AJ, bro. I'm sorry, man. I'm sticking to it. Ukrainian soup. With all due respect to Boxing Bros Ukraine.
Yo, man, G, you a funny cat. All right, so here's a few things. The first thing I want to say is that David Haye, with friends like you, who needs enemies? With friends like you, who needs enemies? Now, see, remember, David Haye and Derek Chisora started off as rivals because I remember the whole press conference thing, and then there's a skull brawl. He glassed me, and he's saying that David Haye hit him with a glass, and he's yelling out, "He glassed me." Well, somehow David Haye ends up becoming Derek Chisora's manager, and then he's Derek Chisora's manager for the fight with Usyk. So you're his former opponent. Y'all squashed the beef. Although David Haye stopped Derek Chisora in the 5th round, I believe. And so he handled Derek Chisora the way he's saying that Usyk should have handled Derek Chisora. And remember, David Haye also moved up from the cruiserweight. So in David Haye himself, you have a man who moved up from the cruiserweight to heavyweight, became champion, fought Derek Chisora, and stopped Derek Chisora in the 5th round when I guess give or take which Chisora you think was better. Of course, you tend to go with a younger fighter when a fighter was younger and say that it was a better Chisora when David Haye stopped Chisora in the 5th. So David Haye is saying, like, if you're moving up from cruiserweight and you're supposed to be some good heavyweight, you need to stop a heavyweight the caliber of Derek Chisora, like I did. The same Derek Chisora that I put you in the ring with when I was managing him. But here's the thing. He's not managing Derek Chisora no more. Derek Chisora and David Haye parted ways. So now when you look at what David Haye's saying, it's like he's just speaking just the uncut real, because it's like he don't have to sugarcoat it because he's not managing Derek Chisora no more. So he's like, oh man, please, if he was any good, he would have whooped that bum Chisora that I was managing. Friends like David Haye, who needs enemies. But get into the prediction about him knocking out Usyk with a jab. This is what I'm talking about, the disrespect. A 1-2 and then a jab. That's not saying that you knocking someone out with a jab. Then that's saying accumulation of punishment is going to knock someone out. But that's not what he said. He said he's knocking out with a jab. So yeah, I'm saying he's going to knock him out with a jab. And this is what I'm getting at. Why is everybody in such a rush to underestimate the chances of Anthony Joshua's opponent? Because for me, he's in there with a serious test. Regardless of what you think about how he handled Chisora, he handled Chisora. And saying that's a heavyweight struggle with Chisora means that the heavyweight is no good. Okay, so X out Dillian White right now. The same Dillian we're talking about is the mandatory for the WBC, was actually losing to Derek Chisora in their second fight before he knocked him out in the 11th round. And that was after Chisora got deducted a point, and Chisora just was like, F this. I seen what the judges did to me last time. I'm going for broke right now. And then he got knocked out. So does that mean that Dillian White's not a good heavyweight, David Haye? Because Dillian White struggled with that same Chisora. Oh, you would have beaten Dillian White though, right, David Haye? Mm-hmm. Stop it. Here's an example of a legitimate heavyweight who's knocking out a bunch of people struggling with Derek Chisora. How about Joseph Parker? Joseph Parker is not a good heavyweight, former heavyweight champion of the world, like you. David Haye, you would have beaten Joseph Parker. Maybe. That's actually a good fight. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm just saying, let's not act like Chisora's some dude that all the heavyweights handle like that. And yeah, you can say, oh yeah, Dillian White knocked him out after 10 rounds of struggling. And they had a fight before that where it went 12 and it was close, which is the reason they had a rematch. Go ahead, bro.
Not to mention, I didn't see Joseph Parker rock Chisora the way that Usyk rocked Chisora in that 7th round and almost had him out in that 7th round. People forget. I mean, you got to go back and watch that fight. Chisora missed a lot of fights that and Usyk made him pay. You know, he made him pay, he made him miss, and he made him pay. People got to go watch that fight again. People so looked at Chisora did such a good job with conditioning and coming forward. Those first couple of rounds, they overlooked the work that Usyk did. That's what I think happened in that fight. Because you got to go back and watch that fight. No commentary. Chisora worked too hard. And that's why he ended up gassing himself out. Because he missed.
He works too hard in all his fights. He works too hard in the Joseph Parker fight, too. That's why towards the end, they just picking him apart. And he's just pure aggression over. I'm like, dude, why not go hard for like a minute and a half of the round? Like the last minute and a half of the round, like Castellano. And do it like that and preserve your energy. No, he want to go 3 minutes of hell, 3 minutes of hell, 3 minutes of hell. Bell rings for round 7, he's dead.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
The story of Chisora.
But no, you're right. I do feel like people tend to overlook what Usyk has done, and people I feel like are actually underrating his win over Derek Chisora. Like, oh well, he struggled with Chisora. Most of these heavyweights struggle with Chisora. In fact, Chisora is the definition to knock yourself out, because if he had a better game plan, I think he actually would win some of these fights. It's like he's trying to overwhelm people with activity, but we know that. What if you focus on landing more clean punches and preserving a little bit more energy, you could actually legitimately get these wins, Derek Chisora. But getting back to what he said, or back to my point, I feel like there's this huge push to discredit Alexander Usyk, and I don't know why, except I feel like people don't want to have to give Anthony Joshua full credit if he beats Usyk. They want to be able to say that, like, oh, this dude he should have won. He could have knocked him out with a jab. Oh, this guy was so easy. Except Usyk already proved that he belongs in this division by beating the best gatekeeper we have. What more does he have to do? He can only get a title fight from Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua, and he's getting his title fight right now. He didn't make up the WBO rules, but he's an Olympic gold medalist, check. Undisputed at cruiserweight, check. Came to heavyweight, beat a gatekeeper, check. Undefeated. What more do you need? If AJ beats this guy, he deserves massive credit, because Usyk has shown nothing but perfection, skill, and ability in the boxing ring. That's all I know. And this is what I mean by people disrespecting. Oh, he's going to knock him out with a jab. Oh, he's going to knock him out with a jab. Last point. David Haye, could you have beaten Alexander Usyk when you fought? Because the Tony Bellew that whooped your A got knocked out by Usyk.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe, and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. You know who we are. We are the Boxing Bros.
You're welcome. You're all welcome.